following program is an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports, the network of the Olympics.
Hi, this is Warner Wolf, and this afternoon we'll start our full day by going live to the $100,000 AMF Pro Classic in Garden City, Long Island. This week's stop on the professional bowling tour. Going into the finals, the leader is Earl Anthony. Then on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the Chinese acrobats of Taiwan return with new and even more unusual acts than when we first saw them last year. You'll see amazing feats of kung fu, balancing and tumbling, including a humid pyramid built on broken glass and nails. Also from Pomona, California, the speed and excitement of the Winter National Drag Racing Championships. Top fuel, pro stock, and funny car events with drag racing's biggest names, including Don the Snake Prudhomme. Following Wide World, except on the West Coast, the Glenn Campbell Los Angeles Open. After yesterday's play, the leader is Tom Watson, who shot a 29 for his first 9 holes in the second round. Before we go to Garden City in the Professional Bowlers Tour, this afternoon in college basketball, Rutgers extended their unbeaten streak to 23 in a row, beating American University of Washington 94-79. Now let's go to Garden City and the Professional Bowlers Tour.
From among the finest bowlers in the world. It's the Pro Bowlers Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Monroe, first in shocks around the world. Replace your worn shocks with Monroe. You'll feel the difference. And by Johnson's Baby Shampoo. It's gentle enough to use every day. From Johnson & Johnson. You're looking at Lower Manhattan Island, part of the great metropolis the natives call the Big Apple. And on the shore is the Statue of Liberty in all her stately grace, arms outstretched and saying, "Bring me your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free." And perhaps the only real breathing room in all of Manhattan is in beautiful Central Park. And because of those huddled masses, well, there's always a great exodus from the city. And the masses stream across the East River to Long Island, as all of us have on this day, to arrive at the Garden City Bowl in Garden City, Long Island. ABC Sports is proud to bring you the exciting final rounds of the $100,000 AMF Pro Classic, live from Garden City, New York. The 8th stop on the Pro Bowlers Association 1976 tour. And now let's meet the 5 tournament leaders who will be competing for the top prize money of $14,000 today here in Garden City. In the number 5 position from Mar Vista, California, Fred Connor. He will meet the tournament's 4th-ranked bowler from Maywood, New Jersey, Ed DiTola. And the winner of this first game will challenge the number 3 bowler from Jacksonville, Florida, Glenn Pierce. The winner of this match will challenge the number 2 man in the tournament from St. Louis, Missouri, with 24 PBA titles, Dick Weber. And the winner of that semifinal game will bowl for the championship against the tournament leader from Tacoma, Washington, with 20 PBA titles, Earl Anthony. Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Giles, and the crowd is great. The enthusiasm is just tremendous, and the scores have been fine all week. and I'm sick and tired of hearing him introduced as a man who has won 12 PBA titles. I think he's talented. I think he's tall and tanned, and he's Nelson Burton Jr., and he's most articulate.
Thank you, Dave. You know, Dave, today our first three players in the AMF Pro Classic have not qualified for the Firestone Tournament Champions, and they need a victory today. But it's no mean task. We have Dick Weber in the #2 spot who can go over $500,000 with a victory today. And the man who's rewriting all the record books, Earl Anthony, defending champion. So it's going to be a tough one.
Well, one question about that. Will the fact that Earl is a defending champion give him an added advantage here at Garden City?
Well, sometimes it does, but that old man in second place could be mighty rough some days.
Oh, man, he's not going to like that. Okay. Once again, the man to beat is Earl Anthony for $14,000 and this beautiful trophy. We'll be back on the Pro Bowlers Tour in just 1 minute.
Hi, I'm Dick Weber to tell you that now is the time to get a set of heavy-duty Monroe-matic shock absorbers. They adjust automatically to any road to give you a smoother, more stable ride. And now for 1976, the manufacturer's suggested retail price is lowered 20%. That's right, 20% off the price of the world's best-selling shock. Monroe, first in shocks. You'll feel the difference.
The beer and the burgers, the light and the noise.
He's still here with the boys. Oh, plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief.
Ah, those lovely bubbles. For aches and pains with upset stomach, Alka-Seltzer works. Fast.
Oh, what a relief it is.
For acid indigestion, try Alka-Seltzer Gold.
All right, along with Nelson Burton Jr., Dave Dials, back at Garden City. Once again in the first match, our fifth-ranked bowler, Fred Connor, is going to meet the #4 bowler in the tournament thus far, Ed DiTola. Now remember, each competitor keeps advancing in our match play format as long as he keeps his winning streak alive. And Ed DiTola told me that he always bowls well here.
Well, he lives real close to this house, Dave, and they bowl a lot of major tournaments up in this area, and Garden City Bowl has held quite a few of these Newsday tournaments, very similar to a pro tournament. Ed's familiar with these lanes. Bingo, good shot for Freddie Connor. He has been on our show before. 3 times last year he made the show, Dave. He has never won a game on TV yet.
Yeah, I walked up to him last night and I said, "You look like a former linebacker." And he said, "I am." DiTola got 8 of them.
Sharp break on the right-hand lane, Dave. These two players are playing the extreme outside line, outside the first arrow, getting a very sharp break at the back end. And Eddie DiTola is just a wizard with that shot.
Seemed last night, Bo, that most of the competitors were taking the outside.
Well, some houses have a characteristic of that, Dave, and we'll tell the people why players play out there, and we'll work on it all week.
Picks it up. We're going to take a look at Ed DiTola's style here, Bo.
One thing that Eddie does very well is when he pushes the ball away, he locks his elbow in a very firm position. Right at that point, it's locked, keeps it locked all the way through the shot, gives him very good leverage at the bottom of the swing.
Told me he's bowled in about 10 tournaments here and just loves the house. That'll make him love it even more. Hey, you liked it better the second frame than the first.
Both these players are experienced tour players, but they have not won yet. The tour is very, very difficult to win on, and we have a lot of great young players, and these are just 2 of the fellows that are future stars, and they need a victory here, though, to get the Firestone, which is the biggie at the end of the year.
Got a little extra boost there.
Got a good break, breaking down the split. but he was just out of time, Dave. He's just nervous, not moving as fast. He's walking too slow. Usually a bowler has trouble. He's running up the line. He's too anxious. Fred Connor has the habit of getting too slow when he gets nervous. He has to pick up the tempo and get his rhythm back.
Last year he won 17,000 plus. Ed DiTola won 23,000. Oh, dead in the middle.
Match is all even after 2 frames. You know, the money that those fellows won is very consistent bowling without winning a title. Today, one man can win $14,000. These fellows haven't won before, but to win 25, 30,000 in that range out here is very consistent bowling without a victory.
Still not getting a really solid hit.
Too slow, Dave. It's just very obvious how sharply the ball is breaking as it enters the pins. Very sharp break. The 3-pin will go right around the 6-pin, and he gets a break on the split, but he will eventually get some splits if he keeps it in that area.
Ed DiTola now up by 1 as he begins on lane 22. We'll be talking about the contrasting lanes as we go along, particularly when we get down to the Weber match.
We'll see a lot of different angles, a lot of different speeds today. More than one way to skin a cat out there, Dave, and these fellas do the job.
Ed DiTola now going up by 11 with a double.
That was a hometown stroke for Eddie. He just made just a beautiful pass at the ball, did not try to muscle it, just let it roll on the lane, and he can be very tough. TV experience, he made the show last year in Cleveland. He was also a contender at the Miller High Life Open, so he's due for some victories on TV, and he's really an up-and-coming young player.
I noticed when somebody interviewed him asking for his future bowling goals, he said to make money.
I think that's what we're all out here for, basically.
Ed DiTola now has 3 in a row. He's up by 21 turns here at Garden City, and we'll be back with more of the Pro Bowlers Tour after this message.
Firestone's 40,000-mile steel-belted Radial 500 is built by craftsmen, piece by piece, one at a time. But anyone can tell you how they build tires. When it comes to how they work, ask a friend about Firestone.
I wouldn't buy any other tire. In fact, I can't remember when I bought any other tires now, to tell you the truth. That's the God's truth.
Ask a friend about Firestone, Firestone, Firestone.
Radio Shack has the hottest thing on wheels today, realistic two-way CB radio. We introduced our realistic CB line way back in 1960, and today we have 16 low-priced mobile and walkie-talkie models to choose from. Radio Shack also makes its own CB antennas, crystals, coax cables, and accessories. Equip your car, truck, or boat today with a realistic CB radio. Only at Radio Shack, a Tandy company.
Fred Connor up on the right-hand lane in the 4th frame, as you see it flashing there. He has just 1 strike to open the match. He's now trailing by 21, needs some strikes.
He got it, but it looked a little thin, though.
Well, from that angle, Dave, you get such a sharp break at the back end on today's light pins. They move so well, you can always carry that light hit. That is really the pro's favorite shot, because a pro can carry a light hit, but a very low percentage on a high hit.
There's our alternate, Steve Neff.
Looks like Omar Sharif in that picture there.
Does he play bridge?
Well, he's got all the girls wishing he'd play bridge with him.
I wasn't going to touch that line with an 11-foot pole. You know that?
Fred Connor having a little trouble on the left-hand lane. I talked to the fellows before, and the fellows playing the extreme outside line said that 22, or the right-hand lane, was the tighter of the two. Now the fellows playing inside, when we see Weber come on, says the 22 is the hooking lane. So 21 will have to watch for the outside players with a sharp break.
for the sixth pin and nudges it out. Eddie Tola now with 79 in the fourth and a spare up, or Fred Connor rather, 79 in the fourth and a spare up in the fifth.
Glenn Pierce, our next player, quite an exciting new face on TV. The old man Weber and always tough Earl Anthony coming up.
I have to tell him, when you walked by Dick Weber after you described him as an old man, he said, thanks a lot. Got a lot of action on that.
Well, he stuck on that shot a little bit, Dave, at the foul line, and he did not get the lift. But as you notice, the pin action is tremendous from the outside line. The biggest fault players can have at the outside line is they get some very tough spares. You get a lot of good strikes, but oftentimes you get the 2, 4, 5, 8, or wash out 1, 2, 4, 10. Eddie got a good break, got pin fall forward, has a simple spare, the 2-pin.
Eddie Tola with a spare in the fifth.
Eddie really studies the game of bowling. He is a graduate of Seton Hall, which is right in this area, and he has become a good bowler. He's been on the tour off and on about 5 years ago. He used to throw what we call a full roller, the track between the thumb and fingers. In the last 2 years, he has changed to the semi-spinner, and he finds that that is his best shot, and he has certainly improved.
Left to 4-pin.
Once again, the sharp break on the left-hand lane from the extreme outside line. The way Eddie controls that, or the best way to control it, is a little more loft on the ball, delays the hook.
You know, bowling in his own backyard like this, I talked to him about the added pressure, and he said, every time I bowl in front of my fans, I want to do so well. But sometimes he doesn't.
Everybody feels that way.
I remember what you said a few weeks ago when we were in Alameda, and I'll never forget it. You said that there's hardly any excuse for a man ever, failing to pick up one pin.
Well, one pin for a pro bowler is very easy. The only thing that would happen to some of these players is they don't practice too many spares before they go on the show, and they could make a mistake under the pressure.
Stubborn 10-pin for Fred Connor. Let's take a look at his style.
Fred Connor, ideal style. One of the young players coming out of Southern California. Just perfect swing, nice and low, solid at the line. Just absolutely perfect. That young man is going to make some money in this game.
You like that chin on him?
He's a powerful boy.
A lot of running backs used to see a face just like that. He was a linebacker at Venice High School in California back in, about 10 years ago. Hang on, Snoopy. Fred Connor with a spare up in the sixth. And then you see the score. Connor trailing Ed DiTola by 20 pins.
No strikes in the last 4 shots. These fellas are just need a little more experience on TV to loosen up. I think you just have to take an advantage. Ed DiTola out with a nice 20-pin lead, but I look for Fred Connor to start coming back right now.
Fred Connor with a strike in the seventh, as you said, Bo. And we'll have more pro bowlers action after this timeout.
Pile of snow. Now's the time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer since 1855.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer, Miller beer. Miller tastes too good to hurry through, but when it's time to relax, Miller stands clear, beer after beer. If you've the time. We've got the beer.
Coming up next on ABC, the speed and excitement of the Winter National Drag Racing Championships from Pomona, California. And a new visit by the spectacular Chinese acrobats of Taiwan. Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Okay, we're back at Garden City Lanes, and that is Woody Woodruff, Vice President Marketing Operations for AMF. A man who knows how to make his matches on the first tee in golf, too, I might add, along with Frank Esposito.
What a personable guy that Woody Woodruff is. He's the lover of all these guys out here. He just loves the game of bowling and done quite a job with AMF promoting not only pro bowling, but the fine AMF line.
And this is Ed DiTola. And he came back, matching Fred Connor's strike in the 7th. Easy Ed, they call
What a
him.
name. Just the way he bowls, Dave.
Fell out in
Nice,
your
smooth.
hometown of St. Louis. I think was the first man ever to be called that. Easy Ed McCauley.
What a great basketball player. Still does a lot of television work in the St. Louis area.
Nice man, too.
Ed can really put the pressure on Fred Connor with a double here. He can take a 30-pin lead, just 2 frames left.
And a little fortunate there to escape a split.
Once again, the left-hand lane is breaking very sharply. Ed hits right in the nose, breaks down what normally could have been a 4-6-10. The 3-pin flies around the 6-10, and he avoids the split. Very choppable spare, Dave. You have to be very careful when you go cross lane with the back ends. When I say the back ends, the last 20 feet of these lanes breaking very sharp. You have to hit this spare just perfect to make it.
You're telling me it's missable. And he hit it perfectly.
You know, you hear some rumbling of the ball went down there. It was a great shot. Ed just killed the ball. When I said no hand action, no lift, it kills the roll, which keeps the ball from breaking sharp. No chop on it. Excellent. Just right over the thumb hole and finger holes, and it's a real good lesson.
So he does have to make an adjustment there, right?
Without a doubt. A little more loft.
Time running out on Fred Connor. He has to do something here. He's very light.
Once again, Fred with a little extra speed, trying to pick up the pace, lofted the ball well out on the lane. It delayed the hook, and it finished very late.
Leaves a 1-2.
A little help from the sideboards there. Boy, the 1-2-10.
You're trailing by 30 going in. You need a little help. Fred Connor gets his spare in the 8th. But time is running out on him, Bo.
Ed DiTola is going at a 2:18 clip, considering strike spare in the 9th and 10th. Fred Connor can now strike out in the 9th and 10th in 11 frames for a 2:18 game. We could have a tie game with that possibility. The key 9th frame, Freddie Connors has to get a strike here.
And he does. You know, last night here, Frank Esposito and I were seated together as the 24 bowlers narrowed themselves down to 5. And Frank alluded to the importance of the 9th frame, Bo. And I think a lot of bowlers overlook that sometimes.
Without a doubt, it keeps the pressure on the man coming up. That strike that Fred Connors got was a great break, crossing over and tripping the 6-pin. But it keeps a little pressure on Eddie DiTola, because Eddie knows that if Fred comes up in the 10th, he can still win the game and defeat Ed. So Ed's keeps the pressure on him, that 9th frame.
And here is that 9th frame. Look at the action on that. Just exactly what you were talking about.
Just a dynamite ball, Dave, from that extreme outside line that Eddie plays so well. The pin action is just fabulous. The most difficult thing for anyone to do is to keep the ball in play. When I mean to say keep it in play, I mean around the pocket. Avoid the disastrous splits you can get from the outside line. With a strike in this frame, Ed DiTola can lock out Freddie Connor. If he spares in strikes, Fred Connor can come up in the 10th. 3 strikes, we'd have a tie match.
You a math major?
Bowling scores are easy to keep if you just do it all the time.
So he leaves a little crack in the door there.
without a doubt. I just slipped here, too. Without a doubt.
There goes one of our chairs there.
Well,
there's
she should have knocked
Dee
the chair over.
Little concern on her face. Little concern on Bo Burton's face here, too. He just broke a chair. Be a slight charge for that, Bo.
Eddie Toller with a spare here in a strike can bowl 218. Fred Connor can come up and tie. We'd have a 2-frame roll-off similar to the 9th and 10th frames. Still an important shot. We'll look for that kill shot again. If Eddie Toller does not strike, Dave, on this shot, he can lose this match sitting on the bench. 218 with a strike. Fred Connor, 3 strikes in the 10th, 218. The possibility of a tie is there.
Easy Ed might be nervous, Ed.
A lot of money on this ball. You can't get to the Firestone without winning the first game in 5th place in TV.
That 9. So Ed Toller finishes at 217. And Fred Connor should finish at 218.
Fred Connor, with a strike in the 10th, 11th, and 12th, can win this game by 1 pin. Has never been ahead in the match. He can do it. Nothing Eddie Toller can do. Sit on that bench and hope. Fred Connor, a great young clutch player, but has been having trouble with the right-hand lane. He's going to have to reach back for a little extra.
Can't get 3 without getting 1.
Dave, he just made one of the most daring moves I've ever seen on national TV. He just moved to the inside line where Weber is going to play. He moved from right off the extreme edge where he was having trouble and took a guess in the 10th frame, threw the ball around the 10th board. The second arrow, he's got the first one. This one here, he can still win the match.
He must have figured, he got up there and figured he had nothing to lose.
Well, he got a whole bunch to lose, but now he's got a whole bunch he can win.
I now pronounce this a cliffhanger.
What a great shot. Fred Connor taking a chance, moving inside in the 10th frame, gambling on getting 2 strikes. He's got 2. He needs a strike to win. If he gets 9, we have a tie match. We would have a 2-frame roll-off. Strike to win, 9 to tie, 8. He would go to the showers.
You see both of them there. What a stirring comeback by Fred Connor, striking out 9th and the 10th with 218. He beats Eddie Toller 218 to 217. What a way to open the day at Garden City Lane.
This Ford pickup is taking one tough pounding in these scenes from the movie Mr. Majestic. This Ford is a used 68 pickup, and it wasn't modified to take this terrific beating. Now, these exciting movie stunts have no bearing on normal usage, and this doesn't prove how long our 76 will last. But if you want a tough-built pickup, that's Ford. 93 out of 100 of all Ford trucks built since '63 are still on the job. So get the one that's built Ford tough.
Guess what our great big quarterback uses on his hair? Johnson's baby shampoo.
So, I use Johnson's too.
So do I. When you wash your hair as often as we do, it makes sense to use a gentle shampoo like Johnson's.
I do shampoo a lot. You know that could be a problem.
Yeah, start using Johnson's.
Shampoo for babies has to be gentle.
Your hair's fantastic. Oh, it's soft and looks full.
Johnson's baby shampoo. It's gentle enough to use every day from Johnson & Johnson.
Jack Nicholson stars in The Last Detail, the Sunday night movie tomorrow on ABC.
Okay, we're back live now, and Fred Connor, with 4 consecutive strikes, now has earned the right to take on Glenn Pierce. This is an interesting man.
What a
see the
fellow.
flight board.
What a fellow, this Glenn Pierce. He's a retired air traffic controller. He's 40 years old, spent 20 years in air traffic control, and decided he wanted to give the tour a whack. Practiced up during November and December. He's out here, and he's been going great all year.
That's a nice way to start when you get a little break that you might not have gotten there and get some pinfall that perhaps you could have left standing up there.
First shot on national TV, Glenn Pierce is just answered the bell right away. Very, very tough. You feel as an opponent, Fred Connor as an opponent can feel that this Glenn Pierce is trying. I have my hands full. It's very important in a match game play.
When you talk about answering challenges, Fred Connor did it. He has 5 in a row now, counting the 4 that he got in game number 1 to defeat Ed DiTola.
Let's see what he does on the left-hand lane. He's been playing the outside line on the left-hand lane. Let's see if he moves the inside line on that one, too. It'll be very interesting if he stays outside on the left-hand lane and has mastered the right-hand lane from inside. I think he's decided to go inside on both of them from where he's standing on the approach.
Whatever he's doing it correctly right now. I hope he doesn't change.
Great breaks.
Let's take a look now at positions 6 through 11, Bo.
Steve Neff, our U.S. Open champion. Carmen, bowling well again. Les Schissler back in the limelight. Mark Roth, the King Louis Open winner from last year. Sam Flanagan won in Sacramento. And Ernie Shea, the bicentennial kid, right up in the money.
Sam Flanagan from Parkersburg, not too far from home for me.
That's great country.
Tell me about it. Well, get him Glenn, 2 in a row. We're going to take a look at his style. Now, I like his lifestyle, too, in addition to his bowling style.
Just a strong man, inside and outside. Just powers the ball, takes very little slide. This man is out here to bowl. As he said it's his life desire. He worked all those years, and he wants to be a winner. He believes he can win. He didn't start off with, I asked him what his ambition was. He didn't say to win a tournament or win Firestone. He says, I want to be bowler of the year. And you got to win a bunch to do that.
We'll take a look at his style in just a minute. What an interesting man he is. We'll tell you more about it. You got to get to know a guy like this. He has 3 in a row. Crowd's getting to know him.
He acts like there's just nothing to it out there. I'll tell you, he's putting some pressure on that young Fred Connor. Fred stayed even with that trip 6 in the second, but he needs a strike here to hold the match.
Just like your average Saturday afternoon, Glenn out there, just going bowling.
Well, on the outside, but inside their heart is beating just like anyone else.
It better be.
Very quickly, though.
A little heavy.
The sharp break. Fate has finally started to catch up with Freddie Connor. He has got 3 Brooklyn strikes. The first time he hit square in the nose now, he has the 3, 6, 7, 10, a very convertible split. He has to shoot it from the left and slide the 3-pin over to the 7-pin.
Very convertible, you said, huh?
Well,
easy for you, difficult for me.
We'll see how Freddie does with it. Within a half an inch, but he loses a lot of pin count. He has now dropped 28 pins behind Glenn Pierce.
They say close counts only in horseshoes and grenades.
Without a doubt. I've never been around those grenades, but horseshoes is all right. Speaking of horseshoes, our horseshoe player who won last week's tournament, Kurt Schmidt, is an interesting story, was disqualified here in 4th place for not showing up in time. Had 8 games to go, and he was 7 minutes late and dropped out of the tournament.
And he was charging when he got his
Fred Connor is going to have to get his tempo together, hitting in the nose. Got a few breaks on the lucky strikes, but Glenn Pierce zeroed on the pocket, looks awfully cool out there. Fred's going to have to do one or two things, go back to that outside line and take a chance, or move deeper in the center of the lane where the ball will slide more.
No, I noticed when he finished that first ball, he kind of waved his hand like, I know what I did wrong. Is that the word you got from that gesture?
Just about.
We'll have more of the second match in the $100,000 AMF Pro Classic from Garden City in a moment.
When you wake up in the morning, when there's work that must be done, or you got to go cross country, or you're out to have some fun. If you're not sure what your tire should be, as you snake around that bed, just ask a friend.
I would recommend someone to Firestone because Firestone will give you what you want and they don't lie to you. If they say the product is good, the product is good.
Ask a friend about Firestone, Firestone, Firestone.
Hi. Today's special is cream puffs.
Cream puffs? What happened to Frank's muffler shop?
Oh, they shut down last month.
Shut down? My muffler! They guaranteed it!
A guarantee is only as good as the company that gives it. Midas guarantees to replace its mufflers free for as long as you own your American car. We've been here 20 years. We'll be here tomorrow.
Take the cream puffs and go to Midas.
Okay, we're back live now. Garden City, Long Island, New York, and you're watching Glenn Pierce, a great Merle Haggard fan. He can't be all bad, I'll tell you that. Loves country music. And people love the way he's bowling so far in the second game. Little light in left 4. Leaves the 2, 4, 5, and 8. Glenn Pierce opening up with 3 in a row, and now trying to convert a very difficult spare here. The right-hand lane. In Jacksonville, Florida. Left one. So he's open, and Nelson Burton is down with a fellow he described as an old man, Dick Weber.
With me is Dick Weber down here in practice lanes. You know, Dick, you can have a chance to go over $500,000 today, and you've got a lot of experience out there. Do you still get nervous before you go on the show?
Oh, I'm very nervous. I'm very excited. I can't wait to get on the show and start. But I'm a ham and heart. I want this title very bad.
Can you tell us how you're going to do? You going to be dynamite out there or what?
Certainly am. I'm going to give it the old 1939 stroke.
Very good. Back to you, Dave.
All right, and there's Glenn Pierce on lane number 21. And after an open frame has left the 4-9. Nelson makes his way back up here. They left me all alone here with Palmer Fahlgren. Palmer just voted Sacramento's Athlete of the Year, huh? That's nice. There's what he has facing him. And the odds on that, 9-2. Who establishes those odds?
Well, it's myself and Frank Esposito. He left more of those splits than I did, so he was really the man that came up with most of the odds. 9-2 is pretty good, and these players make a lot of splits out here. They don't shoot the big scores.
He screwed a bit, but he didn't shove it. And he gets a nice round of applause for a great effort. But his lead, which once was 24 pins, has now diminished to 1. And let's see how close he came. Look at that.
4-pin just nicks the 9-pin. After missing that spare, Glenn came back with a great shot and did not get a good break.
So he is open in the 5th with 93. This is Fred Connors will try to pounce on him, take advantage, but he didn't. He's lucky he didn't get a split there.
Without a doubt, Fred Connor in the 10th frame, when he first moved inside on the right-hand lane, was giving the ball plenty of room, nice and relaxed, letting the ball finish at the back end. On these particular lanes, you cannot go straight at the pocket. They finish too sharply. You have to belly the ball. What I mean by that is start the ball to the right and let the lane draw it back. Fred is going to be in a lot of trouble if he doesn't start giving the ball some room.
Barely gave him enough room there to get a spare in the 5th. Fred's a man who likes glider flying.
It's funny, he's bowling Glenn Pierce, who's an air traffic controller. I don't know if he controls those gliders or not, but he'd like to control this man. Fred Connors trailing by 3 pins up on the left-hand lane. Moved inside on that. He figures that's his best percentage.
Bo, it seemed to me now before, I'm sure all our viewers noticed that he was dropping the ball. It was banging on the boards, and he set it down a little easier that time.
He just rolled it, but he didn't get any lift, Dave. His wrist did not break through the ball as he let it go, so he got no finish at all. When I said the lanes are finishing, they're finishing with the pro spin. Pro bowlers put so much spin on the ball that the lane will bite very sharply at the back end. If he doesn't get that lift, he's in trouble.
Both bowlers now running into difficulty at a time when Fred Connor could and might have taken advantage of a brief fire on the part of Glenn Pierce. He has failed to take advantage of it. He is 95 and open in the 6th.
I think this is going to be a real shot in the arm for Glenn Pierce. He was a little shaky in the 3rd, and the 4th and 5th frames got down to just a 1-pin lead. He is now back in the driver's seat with an 18-pin lead, and he got it while he's sitting down. That always makes you feel good.
Oh, and he took advantage of it. He hasn't been in the tour much, but he's bowled a lot, I'll tell you that. Let's watch his style.
Very classic style. Very strong hands on this man. Into the approach, takes a long full swing, and almost straight up with the left knee as he reaches the foul line, where the power in those arms and hands gets plenty on the ball.
He's a guy who told me that he carries his guitar with him. He pronounced it guitar, which made me like him even more on the road, and he said is once in a while persuaded to get up and sing a number or two. Glenn Pierce has really come out, now leads by 28 over Fred Connor in our second match, and we'll be back.
In engine tests by a major research firm, cars were driven a total of 500,000 miles with and without STP oil treatment. On the average, STP substantially reduced oil consumption, and these tests using scientific measurements also showed that STP oil treatment clearly reduced wear in cylinders, valve trains, and other sliding iron and steel parts. STP. It helps your oil do a better job.
For just $104.95, you can be a lumberjack. Because now, HomeLight has cut $10 off the suggested retail price of their XL chainsaw for homeowners. It's light, quick starting, and has automatic oiling. But above all, it's made by America's largest maker of professional chainsaws, HomeLight, for the pro and the man who wants to cut like one.
I'll have a dozen eggs, 4 rashers of bacon, and a stack of flapjacks.
Okay, we're back live from Garden City, New York, and while we were away, Fred Pierce had a strike on 22, left 6-10 on 21, and he has converted that. He now has 115 with a spare in the 8th. He trails Glenn Pierce by 28 pins, and without having the expertise that you do, Bo, I would say that a strike here for Glenn Pierce would put him in a very comfortable position.
Without a doubt, with 3 frames to go, a 38-pin lead, and you see the man coming up next getting a little advice. 2 of the greatest right there.
Dick Weber, done more for old folks than Geritol. He took it out an awfully long way that time.
257. The extreme outside line is usually all or nothing, and you see it in Glenn Pierce's game. Does not have a spare yet. All strikes, then all opens. He has 3 strikes, then open in the 4th and 5th, strike in the 6th and 7th, and then again in the 8th.
There's a 257. How do you make it, Bo?
Without it, there's 2 choices really, Dave. You can try to hit the 2-pin very light and have the ball deflect into the 7-pin and the 2-pin take out the 5-pin, or you can shoot it on the right, have the ball take out the 2 and 5, and knock the 2-pin into the 7-pin.
How would you do it?
I would go for the 2-pin with the ball deflecting into the 7, let the 2 take out the 5.
That's how Glenn Pierce did it. He says he heard you.
I've known Glenn Pierce a long time, Dave, and a lot of people are going to hear quite a bit from this man. It's just an excellent shot right there. It has to be perfect, right in a perfect position, but not a half inch. Either way, he'd have been in trouble. But
there you see the scoreboard. Glenn Pierce now leading by 25 pins. A marvelous guy. He called his wife, they tell me, after the first 12 games. He says, honey, do you know I'm bowling with the best bowlers in the world and I'm leading them? Well, isn't he, though?
Well, he said something after he said that. You know, I'm bowling the best bowlers in the world, and I'm leading them. So how's that good? Does that make me?
Yes, how good does that make me then?
He is full of confidence. He's a strong man, but he's going to have his hands
We're going to be in
full.
Hartford next week for a lot of money, Bo.
Without a doubt. Midas Muffler putting up $200,000 for a perfect game in the last game.
And Glenn said he'd be there, and he'd be looking for a place where he could sing and pick.
Fred Connor, again, like an old bass sleeping under a log, can still get up and catch Glenn Pierce. If he can strike in the 10th and 11th, as he did last game, will force Glenn Pierce to mark to win. Performed so well in the clutch, he just seemed to draw back at the end of the last game and got it all together. He must strike on this ball to stay in the match.
Bo, watch and see if he does anything differently here.
Just did not get the lift at all, Dave. He just lost out on the lanes. It's a gamble anytime. He was bowling the outside line. He was in trouble. He moved in. He won the first game. He stayed inside, and he just had trouble all the way. You just lose that tempo. Very similar to a baseball pitcher going long, pitching perfect ball for 4 or 5 innings, and all of a sudden he loses it.
Fred Connor looking at a 170 and change after his opening match, 218 to 217 over Ed DeTola. In case you joined us late, Dick Weber has moved in there. Interesting program on Wide World today, and we'll be talking to you about that. And a little extra kick there. And Fred Connor finishes at 175.
Glenn Pierce has a match well in hand, can strike out in the 10th, 11th, and 12th for 220. He's got a tough man coming up next, Dick Weber.
Glenn Pierce is your winner. He'll be facing Dick Weber. A little heavy, but he gets 8. So Glenn Pierce will move up to face Dick Weber in game number 3 for $100,000 here, and we'll be right back.
Hi. When you think of bowling, who do you think of? AMF, right? Right. Shoes and styles and colors for every guy and gal. A complete line of colorful polyester and rubber bowling balls. Handsome bowling bags to match. Put them all together and you're bowling in style. AMF style.
So long, Paula.
We're going bowling. See ya. Why not? They're AMF pros.
AMF bowling balls, bags, and shoes available at your pro shop or bowling center.
You can ask the man who lands them. You can ask the man who farms. You can ask the man who trucks on them or answers the alarms. You can ask the man with memories or with the latest trend or ask a friend.
And he always raved about how great Firestone was. So I, therefore, thought that Firestone would be great for me, too.
Ask a friend about Firestone, Firestone, Firestone.
Tomorrow on ABC, the Superstars originating live from Rotunda, Florida with final round competition for the 1976 Men's Championship. ABC's Wide World of Sports will feature Janet Lynn in the most unusual and artistic look at figure skating ever presented. Also the World Wrist Wrestling Championships and the World Trophy Freestyle Skiing Championships, all on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Plus the exciting final round of the Glenn Campbell Los Angeles Open tomorrow on ABC.
Okay, along with Nelson Burton Jr., Dave Dials back at Garden City Lanes in Garden City, Long Island, New York. And Glenn Pierce has defeated Fred Connor 198 to 175. So, Bo, we've had 2 matches, 2 winners.
Right, they're still throwing a few practice balls. Glenn Pierce is also going to try the inside line a la Fred Connor. He won his first match from out on the corner. Now he's moving the inside. Well, I'll tell you, Glenn, with 2 more victories, can qualify for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. He's bowling for a whole bunch of money out there. That Firestone pays $25,000 first. He needs a victory to get there. One tough competitor at a time. He's got the toughest, in my opinion, of all time right now, Dick Weber.
Glenn Pierce, a tough man, though. He's got some miles on that face, hasn't he?
He's a believer in himself. He just says, I'm Glenn Pierce, and I'm going forward and doing the best I can, and see what he can do.
gave your old fellow a little something to shoot at there.
Got a good break. He tripped the 4-pin, but he's a little more relaxed. But this man here can put the pressure on anybody. He can make you weak-kneed at any time. He is charged and ready. This is only his 3rd tournament this year. He didn't cash in the other 2. He would love to win this AMF Classic.
Dick Weber gets 8. Let's watch the style, a man who has the classic style. Dick Weber.
Without a doubt, one of the strongest players in the game of bowling. Starts that ball in a perfect pendulum swing. He has the greatest swing in the game of bowling. Perfectly straight, right by his side, full extension. Notice how his hand comes out to the right.
His hand comes off every which way.
Dick Weber is an instinct player. He just has a God-given ability from up above to just do anything he wants with a bowling ball. It's just a matter of doing it at the right time. Sometimes he'll follow through right towards the pins. Other times something in his mind will tell him to follow through the right. He controls that ball very well, and yet he's so loose and relaxed out there.
He told me earlier today that he said, I just do what's comfortable. A lot of guys change bowling balls, bring 5 or 6 balls to a tournament. Dick said, I've had this ball for a year, and that's all I use. It just feels good.
That's the man. You hear the crack on those pins? He put the putty to that bowling ball. Just dynamite. He has the great ability to go so straight with the ball and yet so powerful. Glenn Pierce loved to jump out to a lead, though, with a strike.
Left to 10.
The first real rap he's had.
I wonder if there's any more pressure in the bowling like this for Glenn Pearson, being an air traffic controller as he was for so many years.
Well, he said that there is quite a bit of pressure, and they sit there for many hours and work very hard. And it's noted as one of the toughest jobs in the country, air traffic control. And he said he just applied it to bowling, and we bowl about 6 to 8 hours a day here on the tour and qualifying and a match play. And he says he has no trouble keeping his concentration.
Glenn Pierce with a strike in the first and a spare in the second. Dick Weber, spare in the first, strike in the second. And they're dead even. You've known Glenn a long time, haven't you, Bo?
Yes, he's been a great bowler for many years, but he had such a good job, he just didn't want to come out in the tour. He says, well, I'm getting my 20 years in, here I come, and you fellas look out. And he's letting everyone know he's out here. He shot the high game of the week, 300, the only one we had this week.
And this is his first appearance on national television.
Does not seem to have the confidence right now against Dick Weber. It's amazing. You can see it in his stroke. The great players, Don Johnson, Dick Weber, Don Carter, Earl Anthony, always have that ability to make the other player just tighten up a little bit, no matter who it is. And you feel it when you're bowling a player of Weber's stature.
I feel that just being here with you.
Bingo, chopped a 2-4 off the 5. That sharp break at the back end. No good luck for Glenn Pierce. Dick Weber, if I know Dick, will put all he's got on this one. Loves to jump out ahead. We watch some players that just sit back and try to do it in the clutch like Fred Connor did the first game. Not Dick Weber. He loves to be a front runner.
Are you talking about a killer instinct? Now we're going to take a look at it front and back.
We can see that just golden arm swing on the right side of your swing. You know it's just perfectly straight, never wavered. I've never seen the swing waver in 20 years. Right next to his leg, right down the target. All his body and strength into it. And he's getting bigger. You know, Dick Weber quit smoking, went into training about 2 or 3 months ago. He says he feels better than he ever has in his life. Good shot, just left what we call the weak 10. The ball not driving quite hard enough because it hit light. Actually, a ball where it hits there is what we call on about the 17th board. Solid in the pocket is in the 18 board area. Wherever entered the pocket, it's 17. Didn't quite get the drive.
You know, you talked about being an old man. I think we ought to clarify that. The man's only 46. He's in the prime of life, bro.
Without a doubt. Watch him bowl.
Dick Weber with a spare up in the fourth and jumping out in front of Glenn Pierce. And we'll be back with more.
Making Western movies is thirsty work. That's why I'm glad I found light beer from Miller. It tastes great. But what I really like is it's less filling. And light actually has 1/3 less calories than their regular beer. I can't afford to get filled up. You got these characters chasing you all over the desert, you've got to move fast.
Okay, one more time. Only the bad guys.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
The 1929 Ford Woody began it all. I'm Earl Parsegian.
I'm Katie Parsegian. For years, the Ford wagon lineup has outsold all others.
Maybe because Ford offers so many choices and wagon ideas, like the three-way door gate. It opens like a tailgate, opens like a door, window up or window down.
And Ford offers 9 wagon models, from Pinto right up to the Club wagon.
Seats up to 12, and with captain's chairs that swivel. See them at your Ford dealer.
We're back live from Garden City, Long Island. There you see Earl Anthony, waiting in the wings, as they say. Man who has yet to win on the tour this year. And while we were gone, Glenn Pierce left the 2-5 on lane 22 and picked it up for a spare in the 4th. And he's now bowling his first ball in frame number 5. Got a little help, but not quite enough.
Good break for Glenn. He has decided to move inside on the left-hand lane and outside on the right-hand lane. So he has to get it to go on lane 24 pins down. He has to get some strikes.
There you see Buddy Russell, very hospitable proprietor of this fine establishment. There's Sam Vernon there with him, his co-owner. As Glenn Pierce picks up the 10 pin. He trails by 24 pins against Dick Weber, who has won $490,528, more money than anybody ever in bowling. Good night.
Weber really has it together today. Just a slight pull on that ball, and it's set solid in the pocket. A good advice for any bowler is to watch this man's footwork. Just perfect. You notice that ball coming right through at the bottom of the swing, so close to his side. That's where he gets the great direction and tremendous leverage. He puts his whole body into it.
Two in a row for Dick Weber, strikes in number 5 and number 6, and he has increased his lead over Glenn Pierce to 34 pins.
Glenn's going to have to call in a little extra now. 34 pins down to Dick Weber, who just looks super out there today. Glenn can put some strikes together. He was the early tournament leader, and he averaged 236 at one string for 10 games in the tournament. He can still shoot 235 if he could strike out this game.
Left to 7.
Playing that outside line, he's trying to hang the ball way out and make it break very sharply at the back end. He's not getting quite the break, but Glenn took the lead in this tournament when he's going straight, very similar to Weber, but from the outside line. It seems in this house this week that the players that try to hook the ball too much are in a lot of trouble. The straight shooters are doing well.
Glenn Pierce picks up the 7 pin for a spare in the 6th. And let's pause now 5 seconds to permit our local stations to identify themselves. Okay, Glenn Pierce on lane 21, trailing by 35 pins. Oh, we got him all. Glenn Pierce trying to come back now with a strike in the 7th, and we'll be back with more on the Professional Bowlers Tour right after this.
I learned a long time ago that there's no substitute for professionalism. So when I need car service, I go to a professional, my Napa Gold Hat professional. As the sign says, I can count on him for quality parts and professional service. It makes sense. He takes care of cars for a living, so naturally he does a better job. Remember the Gold Hat the next time you need professional car service. That's NAPA. We help keep America moving.
How do you spell relief?
When I get acid indigestion, I spell relief. R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
For heartburn, R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids spells relief. In this test with Rolaids active ingredient, laboratory acid changes color to prove Rolaids consumes 47 times its weight in excess stomach acid. How do you spell relief?
For gas, I spell it R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids spells relief. Fast relief.
You're watching Dick Weber, and while we were away, he picked up a spare in the 7th after having left the 6-pin. Now he's on lane 21 and leaves the 2-pin. Let me remind you that the men's finals of the Superstars will be telecast tomorrow, and it'll be live from Rotunda, Florida. That's at 2 Eastern, 1 Central, and 12:30 Pacific time. And what a great show. Top athletes of the world competing in events other than the ones in which they specialize. Listen to this lineup: Lynn Swan, Dave DeBuscher, Mike Schmidt, Rayford Johnson, Kyle Roach Jr., and Dick Weber leaves it open in the 8th.
Almost an unbelievable shot. A mental error. 2-pin, just did not take his time, hooked right by it. Glenn Pierce all of a sudden has a life. Taking a little extra time, what a break. Something like that Dick Weber is just unbelievable.
You don't expect to get a gift like that from
without
Dick
a doubt.
Weber.
Let's see if Glenn can take advantage of it. He not only trails by 22, can cut it to 12 pins with a strike. Just a bad break. Glenn trying to push the ball up. He had been light on that lane. This is the frame he needed to charge after Weber. Pushed it up in the nose. Disastrous 4-6 split. Cutting right through the heart of the pins. Just no chance at all.
Glenn Pierce had
just a bad break. Glenn trying to push the ball up. He had been light on that lane. This is the frame he needed to charge after Weber. Pushed it up in the nose. Disastrous 4-6 split. Cutting right through the heart of the pins. Just no chance at all.
Glenn Pierce had the door open, but did not take advantage of it. He still trails by 34 pins. He's open with 132 after 8 frames.
To have any chance at all, Glenn must strike out of here against Dick Weber.
And leaves the 7.
Good shot. He just didn't quite carry what we call the wall shot or the shaker.
Among the other stars competing tomorrow in Superstars, former Olympian Ralph Boston, Hank Cashua, David Hemery, Ryan Oldfield, Dave Kingman, slugger for the New York Mets, Tucker Frederickson, former New York Giant running back, and actor Robert Duvall, who was last year's Celebrity Stars champion. Glenn Pierce with a spare in the 9th.
Old Golden Arm up in the 9th frame. Dick Weber, nicknamed Golden Arm by Tom Hennessy, his teammate, who's just getting put in the ABC, American Bowling Congress Hall of Fame. Unbelievable turn of events. Weber still has the match well in hand, but to start throwing the ball around like he's doing it now has to be quite disturbing to him. He was bowled so relaxed and so cool out there, but things are starting to fall apart. He will not be able to afford this anymore in the next match.
What a pickup. A 6-7-10 by Dick Weber.
How can you miss a 2-pin and then come back and pick up the 6-7-10? The 6-pin slides right over in front of the 7-pin. Just a beautiful shot.
We have a winner, Dick Weber, and didn't you know that he'd come back with a strike there? Dick Weber advances to the next round in this $100,000 Classic, and we'll be right back in Garden City, Long Island.
I'm Alan Page, the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm strong enough to lift my weight. That's 250 pounds, and that's good. But these Cornet paper towels are so strong, they can lift 4 times my weight in water. That's 1,000 pounds. That's terrific. Look, just one roll of Cornet weighing 1 pound soaked in water will lift over 4 times its weight. Cornet heavy-duty paper towels from Georgia Pacific. Cornet, big on performance, big on value.
Hi, I'm Walt Garrison, and I don't smoke. But that doesn't mean I can't enjoy tobacco. So I use smokeless tobacco, like Skoal here. Just a pinch between my cheek and gum gives me real tobacco pleasure, and without tying up my hands. So go smokeless with Skoal, Copenhagen, or Happy Days Mint. The tobaccos you don't have to smoke to enjoy.
Just borrowing your horse, Walt.
Hey, get your own horse. Hope it didn't hurt my hat.
The SWAT team has a deadly confrontation with the Lover's Lane gang tonight on ABC.
Along with Bo Burton, this is Dave Dials back at Garden City, Long Island. You see the flight board there. Connor over DeTola, then Pierce over Connor, then Weber over Pierce. And
Probably
I have to say, Bo, this is about the way you predicted it. I saw the show a couple of weeks ago, and you predicted when Karras would go right through, and you kind of liked Weber's chances today, didn't you?
Well, George Pappas went all the way, and Weber looks great, but this man here, this is just two of the great players. You just can't even pick. It's just a
couldn't have a better final than this.
Without a doubt.
This is Earl Anthony.
Off to a shaky start, leaving the 2-7, just kind of babied the ball. Now, Earl is a relaxed player. You can hardly tell what's going through his mind, as opposed to Dick Weber, who will just be showing you everything he's got this last game. Cuts through the pins very sharply. The 4-pin falls out and leaves the 2-7. Not a very difficult split for a fellow like Earl Anthony.
A little too difficult. It isn't often that you see Earl Anthony open up like that.
Just slid by it. Dick Weber, I know the man. These balls here are going to be shots. Let's just sit and watch. He is going to give it everything he's got. Bingo, he's getting a little aggravated with himself. His elbow flew out. We talked about that great arm swing. He keeps his arm so close to his body. Just before he released the ball, he topped the ball, causing his elbow to leave his body in the nose. Still got a break. The 6-9-10. Earlier today, I spoke to Dick Weber why he has not been bowling so much on the tour this year.
Well, Bo, the reason I've really cut back on my bowling is, number one, I've been on the road 22 years, and I'm just getting a little tired, and I feel that to keep my game up the way I think I should, why, I better cut out some tournaments. I'm not trying to copy Jack Nicklaus now, but very similar to that, and I'd like to be around the family a little bit more and closer to business, so that's the reason I'm doing that.
Dick Weber with a strike in the second, and he has jumped out in front of Earl Anthony, the defending champion here, by 11 pins. Earl Anthony last year defeated Bill Allen 217 to 195 in the championship game. We're watching the hit.
Bingo, 6 pin off the 10. Dick Weber charged up.
Earl Anthony been having his problems this year winning. He's getting to the final match, has lost 2 final matches already.
When he let it go. What did he do wrong?
Once again struggling, Dave. He's just not lined up. It's been an hour and 15 minutes since he's bowled on this pair of lanes before we went on the air. And Earl has done this in the Showboat Invitational. He struggled the first 5 or 6 frames, and when George Pappas defeated him in the King Louis Open, Earl went the first 6 frames again without a strike.
Well, he picked that up there. You know, speaking of the tournaments past, let's take a look at the tournaments coming up in the next 4 weeks. Next week, Bo and I will be with you at the $100,000 Midas Open in Windsor Locks, Connecticut, right outside of Hartford. The following week, the Dick Weber 5-Star Open in Tamarack, Florida. The following week in New Orleans, more appropriately in Metairie, Louisiana. And then the $100,000 U.S. Open in Grand Prairie, Texas. Earl still doesn't have it all together.
Breaking very sharp on the left-hand lane. Earl's going to have to go with a little more speed, but just don't count him out. These two players know each other. They've bowled each other hundreds of times. I would say Weber is charged up, though. You know, after the U.S. Open, Dave, we go to Dick Weber's lanes in St. Louis for the Roll Aids Open. Should be quite a tournament, a $100,000 tournament. I know Weber will be ready for that one.
Earl Anthony with a spare in the third. And here we look at the other positions, 12 through 17.
Showboat winner Wayne Zahn still bowling well. Jim Maxey and Paul Caldwell back in the money. Dennis Swade, the power man, John Denton, and Doc Iandoli from the local area.
Dick Weber on 22. Now, that's a very important strike for a lot of reasons, Bo. First of all, he has a chance to increase his lead, but you and I both know that last night, Dick Weber was having trouble on 22.
The right-hand lane, Dick says, breaks very sharp for him, and last night he came down, he needed 1 strike to lead the tournament, left a solid 10-pin, and Earl Anthony was the tournament leader. So Dick hitting the right-hand lane should be very, very tough today. But, you know, they had an hour of practice before the show, and that makes such a difference to these pros, Dave.
Oh, little extra. Dick Weber with 3 in a row now in this final match for $14,000 against Earl Anthony, and we'll be right back.
The 1976 EPA ratings are in, and Ford has the best gas mileage of any V8 pickup. Ford F-100 with optional V8 and manual transmission was rated at 24 miles per gallon highway, 16 city. Your actual mileage may vary. That's a 33% better highway gas mileage rating than Ford's nearest competitor. This means, based on EPA highway estimates, Ford can go as far on $3 as its competitor can go on $4. Think what that could mean every month, every year you drive your Ford V8 pickup.
Hi, I'm Earl Anthony with good news from Firestone. 6 people will win an all-expense-paid weekend for 2 at the Firestone Tournament of Champions in Akron. They'll bowl in the Pro-Am, see the finals, even banquet with the pros. And 200 runners-up will win an Ebonite Magnum ball and bag or a $25 gift certificate. Pick up your bowl with the pros, rules and entry forms now at participating Firestone retailers and BPAA bowling centers.
Okay, while we were away, Earl Anthony had the 1-2-9 pickup in the 4th. He did pick it up. There you see the score.
Obviously,
Dick Weber has gone out in front.
Earl struggling. No strikes yet.
There's his first strike coming in the 5th frame.
Real good touch on that shot. The extra speed. Earl, when he's going high, has to go with more speed. Doesn't have time to be playing around out there. He's trailing Dick Weber by 35 pins. He has to put together some strikes. See if Dick can maintain the pace. He was in this position last game. All of a sudden, the ceiling kind of fell in, and he ended up with a 216. Has to extend that lead.
Leading now by 35. Trying for 4 in a row, but leaves the 10 pin.
What a ringing 10.
Take a look at Dick Weber's style from the back.
Watch what Tom Hennessy was talking about when he named him Golden Arm. Just look at that swing. So perfect, so much leverage. Just absolutely devastating. He does not like the reaction when he leaves that solid 10. Talk to him, Dick. That boy.
He picks up the 10 pin. The reminder, ABC Sports will bring you the Glenn Campbell Los Angeles Open Golf Tournament live from the Riviera Country Club in Los Angeles later today, except on the West Coast, 6 Eastern, 5 Central, and tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central, and 2:30 Pacific. The leader going into the third round today was Tom Watson. Johnny Miller's in, Palmer's in, Crenshaw's in. It's a great tournament. Dick Weber on 21. And after that spare in the fifth, has come back with a strong effort in the sixth and has increased his lead over Earl Anthony to 34 pins.
Earl Anthony, a strike up, coming up in the right-hand lane, has to get it going. Dick Weber does not look like he's an ease up at all. Earl can cut Weber's lead to 14 pins with a strike here in the 6th and 7th. Never count this man out.
All right, 10 in the fifth. Earl Anthony with a double. We're going to take a look at the style that has made this man a devastating performer on the tour in the last 2 years.
Just about like Don Carter, except he's left-handed. Short backswing, bent elbow, very low profile, extension, just tremendous accuracy, smooth roll. Now only trailing by 24 pins.
You wouldn't say Earl's becoming a member of the long hair set now, would you?
I think he's trying to change his luck lately on TV.
You see the score. Dick Weber with 119 and a strike up. Earl Anthony, 65 and a double. Oh, thought he had a triple.
Without a doubt, little extra speed. When you do speed up your bowling ball, you sacrifice some carry. The ball deflected when it entered the 1-2 pocket. With Earl's normal speed, he would have carried very easily. Today, because of the condition of the lanes breaking a little sharper, he's having to go with extra speed, will not get that type of carry that he's used to. $346,000, and he's done it in so few years. 6 years, 7 as a member, 6 on the tour.
Earl Anthony gets the 7 pin and has a spare in the 7th game. Dick Weber is a very important ball coming up right here.
He can extend his lead to 35 pins. And you know, Dave, Weber is tied with Don Johnson with the most titles, 24. But Dick Weber has 4 All-Star titles that are not in that. So actually, that is the U.S. Open, the old All-Star, and really is 20, like 28 almost.
Do you think he was ever more glad to see 1 pin fall than that?
Without a doubt. He's struggling on the right-hand lane. Like you said, Dave, he had trouble on that lane last night. Got a great break, broke down the 6-7. Still leads by 25. A routine spare of the 6 pin, but he did have a mental error on the 2 pin. I'm sure he'll go straight and hard at the 6 pin.
Dick Weber with 139 in the 6th and a spare in the 7th.
The last time these two fellows bowled was in the Monroe Max Air Tournament in New Orleans last year, and Anthony defeated Weber in the preliminary matches. So Weber would like to get a little revenge, get his 25th title, and pocket the AMF Pro Classic Championship. Of Dick Weber, the tremendous carry power, that what he calls a wall shot, tremendous spin. He just has more spin on that ball than almost anybody you can believe. Head pin comes flying back and knocks out the 5.
And he told me that he doesn't practice very much these days. Only about 20 games a week, he said.
He practiced for this tournament. I think he's fooling everybody. I can tell when Dick Weber's out there to win. I saw it when he came in the building this week.
Earl Anthony responding to the challenge with a strike in the 8th. 25 pins, the difference now between these two. I tell you, couldn't have a better showdown match than Earl Anthony and Dick Weber.
Without a doubt, but we're coming up to what you and Frank Esposito spoke about last night, the key 9th frame. Earl Anthony strikes here. He can force Dick Weber to double somewhere in the 9th and 10th to shut him out. Earl can win this match a la Fred Connor, come from behind with 4 or 5 strikes at the end. This very, very big ball. Almost a must strike.
And when he must, He do.
Well, that's what makes him so great. That's his, what I call his Dino Supreme shot. He reached back with everything he had and just ripped that rack apart. The fellows on the tour call it shredding the rack. He just took the ball and ripped the 5-pin right out. The lead is now only 15 pins. Dick Weber coming up on his tough lane. Would like to answer that double with a double. It's down to the nitty-gritty. Weber once again getting a little shaky at the end of the match. He did not want to go high, definitely. A split would have been disastrous. Weber played an educated light shot. He was hoping to hit very light in the pocket as he did in the 8th frame and catch the wall shot. Now he has the 1-2 spare. Needs this to maintain his 15-pin lead going into the 10th. Here's the situation. Dick Weber, with 2 strikes in 6th and the 10th frame right now, will win the tournament, shut out Earl Anthony. Anything less than a double, Earl Anthony can come up and win in the 10th frame. It's going to go to the last ball, as it has almost every week. Dick Weber leaving the soft 10, went with a real good shot, did not quite finish. His lead is now 14 pins if he spares, which I feel he'll make the spare routine 10-pin. We'll just go right at it. He can finish with a 218. Earl Anthony can win with a double in the 10th.
And the man from St. Louis has spared in the 10th, so he'll finish with 210 and change.
It's almost immaterial to count here, Dave. Dick Weber with strike 218. 7 pins is just as good. Would give him 215 because it forces Earl Anthony to get at least 2 strikes. Earl's going to need 2 strikes no matter what Weber does. 216. Earl Anthony's destiny is in his own hands right now. He must strike on the next 2 balls. 2 strikes, he's the winner. If he fails to strike in either ball, Dick Weber has his 25th title and once again becomes Pro Bowling's all-time tournament winner by himself with 25 titles and $500,000.
That ain't too shabby.
Nothing more to say. It's all on Earl's hands.
Halfway home.
The first time he showed emotion in his life. This man, Earl Anthony, just stayed there cool. Dick Weber was very aggressive the whole match. Earl, routine like a...
Well, he's finished in the top 5 in 18 of 30 tournaments last year. He was on our television show a record 9 times.
It's this shot. Earl Anthony strikes on this shot. He is the AMF Pro Classic winner. If he does not strike, Dick Weber is the winner. Last ball, the most important ball.
Look at Dick Weber there.
Earl going wide on that shot. Dick Weber is the winner.
Dick Weber, the winner, and now a record winner, 25 tournaments. And we'll be right back with the close after this.
I know, you're not getting a terrific shave from your electric razor. Maybe there's nothing wrong with your razor. Maybe there's something wrong with your face. Your beard is just laying there. Make it stand up with this. Williams Electric Shave. Look, every leading razor manufacturer tells you, use a pre-shave. And most people use electric shave. It gets your beard to stand up, so your razor shaves closer and with less irritation. Williams Electric Shave. Makes your beard stand up. Makes your razor shave better.
AMF bowling pros have helped design a new ball. Here's Dick Ritka to tell you about it.
Here's how AMF's Pro Classic can help you get higher scores through zone control bowling. It all happens in the power zone and the action zone. This soft polyester ball is designed to hug the lane and give more traction in the power zone, so it can plow into the pocket with more drive in the action zone.
The new AMF Pro Classic ball, available at your pro shop or bowling center.
Coming up next on ABC, the speed and excitement of the Winter National Drag Racing Championships from Pomona, California. And a new visit by the spectacular Chinese acrobats of Taiwan. Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
This afternoon, Sheila Young, and of course you remember Sheila in the Olympics. She won a gold, a silver, and a bronze medal in the speed skating. Over in Norway this afternoon in the speed skating championships, Sheila Young has the lead in the first day of the two-day event. This is based on points and, of course, not medals. Sheila won the 500, came in 6th in the 1500. And Leah Polis, who also won a silver medal in the Olympics, came in 2nd in the 500. And you can see here on ABC's Wide World of Sports via satellite from Berlin the sprint championships on March the 7th. In college basketball this afternoon, DePaul beat Cincinnati 70-60. Dave Corzine had 28 for DePaul. In the Big Ten, Michigan over Purdue 92-81, 22 points for Phil Hubbard. In the Southeast Conference, Alabama beat Mississippi State 65-61. All-American Leon Douglas had 22 for Alabama. In the Southwest Conference, Texas A&M beat Arkansas 70-69, 26 points for Sonny Parker. And Notre Dame beat South Carolina 90-83. Earlier today, Rutgers beat American University by 15 points. Now back to Garden City and Dave Dials.
Okay, we're back at Garden City Lanes and Garden City Bowl, and Howard Eisenstein has a big trophy here, and I don't know where you're going to find room in your trophy case for that. Howard, president of the Nassau County Proprietor.
My pleasure, Dick. Congratulations to you. It was a great win. We'd like to congratulate the tour for coming to Nassau County. Hope you come back again, and it was a great show for AMF. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Howard. Thanks to all your Nassau Bowl Players Association. Eddie Russell here at Garden City Bowl. There's wonderful fans out here. It's really great.
I don't know where you're going to put the trophy because you have so many of them, but Woody Woodruff of AMF, Vice President Marketing Operations, I think you'll find room for that. Won't you? $14,000, Woody?
Dick, congratulations. And it's, I think, especially significant since it's your 25th win, and it also takes you over $500,000. We're real proud of it.
Well, thank you very much, Woody. You know, I've been associated with AMF about 20 years now, and fellows like Woody have made it all possible for me. And I just want to thank AMF for a wonderful, wonderful company because they've been really great to me.
Now, what would you like to say to Bo Burton, who referred to you as an old man at the outset here?
Well, the way I feel right now, I'd like to come down and we'll bowl a little match right now.
Dick, we talked about this before. You're so competitive, and you told me before, I don't care how many titles you've won, how much money you've won, you still get sweaty palms when you come down here, don't you?
Dave, I'm very nervous. I'm still nervous at the time. Earl got a little bad.
Wait, let me help you. I'll carry this for you if I can help you.
I can handle that. You take the trophy right now.
Okay, Earl Anthony, runner-up. Earl, congratulations.
I'd like to congratulate Dick. In more ways than one, he's a great champion. He's a great gentleman, too. And I'd like to thank AMF for being such a great sponsor and putting on a tournament like this. They've been great all week.
Two great champions, and as we said many times, you couldn't have a more appropriate finish than Earl Anthony and Dick Weber. Once again, the final score of our final match was Dick Weber winning over Earl Anthony 216 to 210. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. Now's the time to save with United's new Freedom Fare. Any day, almost anywhere. United's new Freedom Fare. This is Dave Dial speaking for Nelson Burton, Jr. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
There's a new cop on the street. Say hello to him.
My name is D'Angelo. Sergeant D'Angelo, the mean one. I never forget a favor or a face. Sergeant who? D'Angelo, we got it. That's right, now you better share it.
Paul Sorvino is Bert D'Angelo, Superstar.
Superstar premieres tonight right after SWAT.